But I do appreciate everyone who contacts me, and amazing content that you send me. And I want to get onto that now because I have been sent some incredible stuff, and let's just try and fly through it. But first of all, I want to show you this new information that has come to light now about what exactly was being planned for this pandemic in the years leading up to it. Okay, now we now have proof that the wealthiest banking family in the world, the Rothschilds, they originally were German Jews, I believe, the Red Shield Bank, and they were the ones that started this fractional reserve banking, whereby they lent more than they actually had. Back in the day when they set up, people left in their gold and their silver to the Red Shield banks in Germany, and the idea was that they would not lend more than they had, because at some point they had to give back the gold and the silver to its owners. But as banking regressed and became all about profit, then the Rothschilds where I suppose with some of the other banking families began lending money that they didn't have, and this is what we have today: figures on a screen and not actual wealth. So guess what they were doing? Patenting COVID-19 biometric tests in 2015 and 2017. Now this story broke a few weeks ago, but the proof, we now have the proof of this so today, and I'm not going to go into it too much, but you can see here that in 2015 in the Netherlands, a system and method for testing for COVID-19 was registered by Richard A. Rothschild and another. That's fairly clear there. And then we go down to another registration in 2017, and you can see their system and method for testing for COVID-19 filed by Richard Rothschild on the it was registered in 2017. Provisional application number down there is filed on October the 13th, 2015. So we know that this was a pandemic. Now, what this author has found out is, he says, one key detail struck me on these registrations, that both were filed and updated years ago, but they were scheduled to be made public in September 2020. This is sufficient evidence that they knew in 2015 what's going to happen in September 2020. So how did Mr. Rothschild know how to create a system, a method for testing a disease that didn't exist, and know exactly how the disease will be called, including the year in which the disease would be discovered, COVID-19? So just yet more proof that this is all planned. And let me go back to that story there. But on the PCR test, there's absolutely no question that they are scamming. There's a story there that I want to just have a look at. Okay, well, you know with the PCR test that even those who get it, this is a case-demic now, and even those that get the test, 80% of them remain symptom-free, and 95% of those who test positive, 80% who are tested positive in these shambolic PCR tests remain symptom-free. 95% who test positive get moderate, and that's it. So just remember the 80%. But there's been some shenanigans going on in the HSE in relation to changing the data. And this is a document that was sent to me earlier, and thank you so much to the individual who sent it, because it is most revealing. It is most revealing. And this appeared on the HSE website mysteriously a few days ago. It's signed the 8th of October. But they realised that they weren't getting the test numbers that they need to keep up with the Great Reset, to keep up with the, the fear agenda. So they've actually changed the methods under which people should be confirmed positive, or at least the results. And if we go down this document, I'm not going to bore you with the details, but it's just down at the very end here. This is the conclusion. Individuals whose samples yield indeterminate results should be recalled for repeat sampling if this is appropriate in the clinical context. Now, this means that if you don't get a positive the first time, or if there's a bit of a question mark, they want you back again. Is it any wonder when Mr. Rothschild is making a killing from it? If the second sample also yields an indeterminate result, the individual should generally be considered as confirmed SARS-CoV-2 infection and the result notified to public health. This is absolutely criminal what they are doing here, and shame once again on the medical profession for keeping it quiet, because it wasn't a doctor or a nurse that sent this to me, or a HSE whistleblower, because they don't exist from what I can see. So that is a total further evidence of how they are messing with the results. Now we know that they do the same trick with the death certificates, that if you're not sure that it's COVID, put it down anyway. Put it down. Put it down. And these people are so breathtakingly out of control at this stage. But I hope that is clear to you there, because they're scamming that. Now, there's also a very interesting bribery letter that I came across, and that, again, thank you so much to the person who sent me this. It's most appreciated. Let me just get it right on the screen for you there. So this is a bribery. This is a bribery document. Now, many of you are not in a position at the moment to get healthcare. To get that word healthcare is just dreadful, isn't it? It's associated with, because it's not healthcare. Because they just do not care about your health in any way. But it's indicative of how desperate they were, this letter, to get the doctors, the GPs on board. At the moment, it's next to impossible to get an appointment for a GP without being put through hell and being quizzed. And, people are being asked the most inappropriate questions. The doctors are fascists. The GPs are total fascists in this country. Don't go anywhere near them. You go to alternative therapists who are awake to the agenda, who will not force you to wear a mask, who will not go and waste your time getting blood tests and all of that nonsense, which a lot of the time, I know many people who've had bloods done and perfect, and they ended up having cancer. I know people who had bloods done and the bloods were all over the place, and they are perfectly healthy people. So they're scamming you at every opportunity. But this went out in March to get the doctors, the GPs on board. GPs will be remunerated for provision of remote consultations to patients who may have contracted COVID-19 infection, including referral for testing if clinically required, in line with the latest clinical algorithm, which is available algorithm on the hpsc.ie website. Now, wait for this. A fee of €30 will be payable to GPs for provision of such remote consultations. This fee will be payable in respect of all patients regardless of eligibility status. A claim is valid once a call has been completed, whether or not the test is required. There you go. Do you see this? If a test is required, the result will be referred back to GP, where a second remote consultation is required. With the patient, a further claim can be made. Now, this is an out and out scam of the highest order. Here's this is the next stage. GPs will be enabled to provide dedicated respiratory clinics on their practice premises for patients previously identified by remote consultation as being at risk of COVID-19 infection. A fee of €75 will be paid per consultation. This fee will apply to all patients regardless of eligibility status. Claims can be submitted electronically. And so what's happening here is, this is, as we said, it's out and out bribery. There's no other word for it other than bribery, because what these doctors do, it's just, yes, have you got a sniffle? I do, yeah. COVID, write it down. COVID, €30, €30. How many €30 could you get in a day? Let me see, you could probably take, I don't know, 10 calls, maybe half an hour. That would be 300, 600, 8 hours, 6 8, 48. What, you could make $5,000 in a day doing this. Your taxes being squandered. I don't know. It just goes on and on and on. I mean, it really, really is depressing. This is a total and utter. There are no words left to describe it. I've run out of words. But they bribed the doctors at the very beginning. And you see, because we have the worst doctors in the world, worst nurses in the world, we've the worst journaliers in the world, we've the worst police in the world, and we definitely have the worst politicians in the world. This is no problem. They will do this because they've no ethics. Zero ethics. Most of them signed up for the abortion. And as for the consultants, don't get me going on them. But they are, and as for the lawyers, well, they're just a whole different. Where are they? Silent. But these doctors, you see, all of those professions that I've just mentioned, they're all coming from a keeping up with the Jones ethos in life. When they go into their King's Inns and their Blackhall and their RCSI, the Royal College, and Triners and UCD and all this, social climbing goes on, they have to have the lifestyle. They have to have the big, the Jeeps and the new Jeeps, and nothing against Jeeps, as long as they're not, OTT. They have to have the big mortgages, the big fat mortgages, all of the trappings of the lifestyle. They're not, it's quite clear to us now that these professions are not in it for medicine, for justice, for the telling the truth, which is what journalists are supposed to do, exposing the truth, speaking truth to power, holding power to account, so that politicians don't end up implementing total fascist control, as is what has happened here. So this is what we've ended up with. All of these professions care about money and nothing but money, because they've the big lifestyle to sustain. So you see there how they got the doctors on board, and